So, what is the point of having a cancer ridden teacher in this show? Well, this is the episode where we find out. Welcome back. My name is Sean. This is Sean's Take, and today my take is on the three body problem, episode 6, entitled The Stars Our Destination. This is a spoiler warning from here on out. I'll assume you've seen the episode or don't care if I spoil it for you. I will use clips from the show, as is allowed under the fair use provision of the copyright laws of 1976. Let's dig into it. If by some chance you would like to go back and see my other videos on this show, I'll put a link right here. You can go back to the playlist and work your way through those. But this is for episode 6, but it may contain spoilers for everything that's come before it. So Will, I've liked the character from the moment we've met him, but I did begin to wonder why he was here. Because we have, they're the Oxford Five, and he's one of the Oxford Five, which means he's pretty smart. He was in Vera's class, but we don't really have much beyond that. We know he's hopelessly in love with Jin. We've seen a couple of little moments where maybe Jin might feel the same or something like the same. But so this episode is the exhale from episode 5. Episode 5 had the first offensive, really, in attacking the ship Judgment Day, Mike Evans, to get the recon intel, and it was a success, and that was horrific, but it was a in symphony terms, a crescendo. Now this is the exhale, a little calmer episode. So Wade, his name is Thomas Wade, but we all just call him Wade. He recruits Jin to work with him, and she does come up with an ingenious way of, with our current technology, how we can accelerate a probe to 1% of the speed of light to go meet the Santi in interstellar space and get us some intel on their fleet. And her idea is to drop 1,000 nuclear weapons into outer space at certain intervals. She did all the math. And then deploy a small probe as light as possible with a solar sail made out of Augie's nanofibers. And then as the probe passes the nuclear bombs, detonate the bomb so that the concussion of the explosion inflates the sail and pushes it faster. Because in outer space, where there is no other forces, an object that is set in motion will remain in motion until it's acted upon by another force. So it'll accelerate and keep that speed, get to the next bomb. The bomb will explode. Concussion will push it faster and faster and faster until it gets there. I don't know if that's a legitimate way to accelerate something to 1% of the speed of light, or if the show just did a really good job convincing me that they did it correctly. I'm sure Neil deGrasse Tyson will have a take on that somewhere, but I won't let it interfere with my willing suspension of disbelief. So since learning about the Santi, the general population on Earth has not reacted well. And I think it's correct that in the 21st century, with these people on this planet, something like this would cause a lot of splintering and segregation and not a coming together. The coming together will happen when the enemy's in front of us. It won't happen when it's a theoretical thing 400 years in the future. So Will, who has so far been comic relief, for lack of a better term, we know he has pancreatic cancer. He's also inherited $20 million or pounds sterling. And all he wants to do is live by the water in a little house, get high, and hang out with his friends. So he has the little house now on the beach, and his friends cycle in and out because they all have to go to work. They all have to do their things. Augie and Saul convince Will that he should go tell Jin how he feels about her for real before it's too late and he can't. Now, before Jin left the house, Will and Jin were sitting on the beach, and she folded origami a couple of boats, and she took them. One was Will and one was Jin, and she put them in the water and they sailed away. That matters because it's going to come up again. It was a nice moment between the friends. So a little bit later, Augie and Saul convince him to travel to London to tell her how he feels. And for some reason, he goes. And it's not an easy trip. We see him taking his medication to sort of get through it. And he gets all the way there to see she and Raj embracing and kissing. And he turns around and goes back to his little house by the water, having not said anything. I did read somewhere out this episode that it felt like a reel from the movie Notting Hill had been put into this show. And, when if you've seen Notting Hill, he overhears on the movie set that she doesn't know why he's there and blah, blah, blah. And it was sort of that, like that. So Will decides to get into the fight against the Santee when he's sitting on the beach and he's probably a little high, and he imagines the paper boats returning, but ship-sized. He goes to the place where they're selling stars. Now, I tripped on this initially because I know that right now you can buy a star for somebody for like $50. Like right now in our reality, you can buy a star. And he goes to this place and spends $20 million to do it. But in reality, or what I missed, and I don't know if this came out of the books or if I missed it in the show, let me know in the comments. It's a foundation that was set up to sell stars for higher prices to raise money for the war effort against the Santee. I missed that. So he basically gives all his money that Jack gave him to the war effort, but gets Jin a star. Swears everybody to secrecy that they'll never tell her that he's the one that bought it. There is a bit of him in front of their big screen that's showing video from around the world while the song Video Games by Lana Del Rey plays. It was very well shot. And that's a good, if you're Will and you're a little altered and you're thinking about the smallness of mankind up against this mighty foe, you'd probably be listening to Lana Del Rey. Back in the day, it would have been Janice Ian or somebody like that. But it is a good song, Video Games. I'll put a link out to her video in the show notes or in the description. I don't know what it was supposed to mean that Raj couldn't open the window in Wade's office when he was asking for the job to build fighter ships on the moon. I mean, I don't get it. We did see a nice moment when Will convinced Augie to go help Jin, to go work with Wade and help with the effort. And he said to Augie, he said, she didn't come all the way down here to talk to me. She came all the way down here to get you. And I thought that was a good understanding that Will had. That's really it for this episode. It was a nice exhale, like I described it before. Very calm. Did progress the story. And we did, I went from liking Will to really regretting that Will's dying of cancer in this one. But, let me know what you think in the comments. Don't forget, give this video a thumbs up if you liked it. Consider subscribing. There's a lot of shows that I cover. You don't want to miss any. But that's it this time. My name's Sean. This is Sean's Take. See you next time.